Hello everyone, welcome to the beer garden. Last Wednesday, due to the typhoon, we canceled the Happy Valley meeting, but no worries, we returned at Charene for the Lady Purse Day featuring the Lady Purse. It is a 1800 meters, or it is a Group 3 race over 1800 meters. So now it is the 5 o'clock in the morning in Hong Kong. While recording the beer garden, we are also watching the Breeders' Cup event. Joe, have you been to Keenan? Do you think it is a great racetrack?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best ones to around the world. It's definitely one you want to go to. I've been there. It's really nice, and a lot of good horses come from Keeneland. That's like one of the big circuits when it's in season, which is in the fall and in the spring. So yeah, they have really good turf racing over there, and some an interesting 4 year or a 2 year old racer where they start at a part of the turn. So it's a definitely one you want to visit. The food's really good, and you could party till all the
Oh,
races are done.
great. Yeah, that's
That'll suit
really
you then, Joe.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, for us as well. Yeah, so going back to the Hong Kong race card on Sunday, there will be 10 races to be held at Sha Tin. So already in this season, there are several horses won on debut, so never look down to a debutant. So this time, there are so many debutants here. So there are 12 horses making their debuts in Hong Kong. Some of them are really talented. Joshua, what do you think? Which debutant do you think is able to win on his debut?
Yeah, I found it a real hard one going through all the debutants, but I found that 1,000 meter race probably the most winnable race for all the debutants because it's not very deep at all. I thought that Baby Crystal with Zach Burton for John Size might be the one to break through. I know it's drawn barrier one, which isn't ideal up the straight, but it's trialled up really well, and I just think it just gives me the indication of a horse that will handle the straight well and should be able to be really competitive. But yeah, out of all the debutants, I think I think that race has got the four of them. So I think that's the race that's most likely going to produce a winner. But I think Baby Crystal in the what race was it? The third over the 1,000.
Third race.
Yes. Yes, right. Race 3, number 5, Baby Crystal will make his debut in Hong Kong under Zach Purton. As a son of Perincanto, usually their offsprings are having quite good results in Hong Kong, especially over the sprint races. Steve, how about you? Which newcomer do you think is able to win on debut?
I went to race number 2. I thought the 5:30, well, UK time 5:30, 6 furlong handicap was interesting. A class 4. I didn't think it was the most competitive race, and I like the chance of number 5, Packing Good Sing, and that's trained by David Hayes and ridden by Zach Purton. He's drawn gate 11 of 12, but you've seen so many horses that just come out like Sweet Encounter and horses that are drawn wide, and you write them off, but of course they win because it's simply too good. And I thought Packing Good Sing was an interesting runner. He's had 4 barrier trials. They've all been fairly decent. And the last one was with Zach Purton, and he stayed on very nicely between horses to finish third. And I think his second barrier trial, he was second to All Greek to Me, which I think is someone likes that in the 4 here. So yes, for me, I think Packing Good Sing, a nice horse, drawing 11. I thought Easy Snip was an interesting runner in that race with Harry Bentley. But I think a bit like Joyful Genius, possibly that kind of horse, Easy Snip, will continually run good races, but never actually hit the jam jar. So hit the winning target. So maybe Packing Good Sing can win first up.
Yes, right. Number 5, Packing Good Sing in race 2 and other good mounts ridden by Zach Purton on Sunday. He's trained by David Hayes with several good barrier trial performance, so barrier 11 should not be a problem for him. And Joe, how about you? Which debutant do you like on Sunday?
Oh, I like race number 3, the 1,000 meter. I went with a super race. So the pedigree I really like because it's out of Swiss Ace, and we had a flying ace who won so many races in a row. And it's funny because Matthew Poon was normally the rider. He's riding this one too. And on top of that, Swiss Ace has had a lot of great horses come out of them, like Mighty Giant, who won the Sha Tin Vase in 2019. And he's been having a lot of winners around Australia, New Zealand with some group experience. So a lot of sites are saying that he's going to probably be one of the favorites. They're looking for him to have a really good debut. His trials have been doing really good. So I'm gonna go with Swiss Ace, or I'm sorry, Super Ace. So we'll see if he will get that passing shot.
Yes, right. So number 8, Super Ace in race 3 as a son of Swiss Ace. Usually this kind of progeny is doing really well in Hong Kong. Usually a very useful type, a very fast horse, very suitable for racing over the 1,000 meters. And for me, I also think that in race 3, there are lots of good horses here. For example, number 4, All Greek to Me, ridden by Luke Curry, trained by David Hayes, looks interesting because he is very big in size. Currently, he has some very trial performance. I think he is now settling in Hong Kong quite well. As a son of Caesar Cake, we just saw that in the efforts. Giga Cake also side by the same stallion, having quite good results at 3-year-old. But this horse, as a 4-year-old All Greek to Me, I think he is very mature at the moment. So never underestimate the debutants on Sunday. Most of them are really good chances. So let's talk about our treble selections. For the first leg, it will be race 8, class 3 over 1,400 meters. Joshua, who do you fancy in race 8?
Yeah, I found this one a really wide open race. I landed with number 4, Casa Papa here. He was tremendous first up when you could say he was a moral beating behind Mr. Ascendancy over this track and distance. I followed it in last start where it was too bad to be true. Travelled keenly, bumped around to finish 3.4 lengths back in 7th, but it was found to have a substantial amount of mucus in its trachea post-race. So I think that's a reasonable excuse as to its poor run. I love the draw here. Harry Bentley jumping aboard. I really expect them to sit midfield or better with Eremo to his inside and All Riches to the outside. Most of those to the further outside won't be that fast early, so you should be able to get a nice spot in transit. You should get some nice value about it, definitely save on horses like Eremo, Amazing Victory, and I'm expecting a much better run from a horse that's just recently been gelded in Prince Alex. But for me, I think Casa Papa can offer some nice value. I wouldn't be leaving it out of your exotics, your trebles, your quaddies, whatever else you play. But I just think with a better draw and a better run, I think Casa Papa can be right in the finish.
Yeah, so number 4, Casa Papa in race X, this time jumping from a good draw again. And it is interesting to see that Harry Bentley takes the ride for the first time, and I'm also expecting a better run for him. How about you, Joe? Who do you like in race 8?
Race 8, I went with number 11, All Riches. According to the speed map, he should be on the speed. But if you look at all of his last probably 7 races, he's drawn wide in every single one, 11, 13, 11, 14. So now he finally gets a decent draw with draw number 3. He had 2 wins towards the end of the season, and he won by a length and then 2 lengths. So he's been around there. I think he needed just that first run, but getting all those draws wide and going up in class, I don't think the class is going to be the issue because he is going to carry only 52.5. But I think he'll bounce back in this race with Derek Lowe on board. So I'm going to go with number 11, All Riches for me.
Yes, I agree. Number 11, All Riches finally a good draw for him. Gates number 3 this time. And also the map in race X will also be favorable for him because he is expected to be the only leader. So maybe he can just lead in a slow pace. So very good position for him. And Steve, who do you like in race 8?
I went for Eremo, maybe not the most original selection. He won well last time from Gate 1. He's landed lucky again with the draw. Gate 1 once again. He's up £7, so he has more to do, but he's a lightly raced horse. He's progressive. Zach Purton sticks by him. There's lots of ticks in the boxes. I think Casa Papa's interesting. As Joshua says, he was an unlucky horse first up, and then he obviously had excuses last time, and he's obviously £7 better off with my selection. He's entitled to get close and drawn 2 under excellent Harry Bentley. But an interesting race. I think also California Redwood's a nice horse. He won at Chong Fa recently, and his 3 runs in defeat last season at Happy Valley were full of promise. Now steps up to 1,400 meters. I think maybe, well, famous last words, he'll probably win now, but I think maybe just a little bit more time for him. But I think a very nice prospect. And Dragon Fortune seems to have lost his way, doesn't he? He won over course and distance 4 back. He seems to do what he wants when he wants. And great trainer Frankie Law, but not really doing a great deal at the moment. But if he shows anything like what he has, what he's capable of, he has a chance. But for me, I'll go for Eremo to make it back to back.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Actually, this horse, there are so many horses to decide, but finally, I decide to stick with number 6, Arimo. He was my best bet last time out, and luckily on that day, on October 9th, Zach Purton just scored a 7 winners. So Arimo was one of his victories. And this time he is very lucky again to draw one. So I believe that he can just stay in front with a good position. I believe he can stay behind all reaches. So these two horses can also be favorable for the slow pace. So I also think that number 6, Arimo, can win it back to back, and he will also be my best bet on Sunday. So to recap race 8, Joshua goes for number 4, Casa Papa. Joe goes for number 11, All Reaches. Steve and myself agree with number 6, Arimo, and he will also be my best bet of the day. So let's jump to the second leg of the treble, race 8, class 3 in over 1200 meters. Joshua, who do you like in race 9?
Yeah, how impressive was this horse on debut? Number 9, Beauty Eternal. Debut run, she drew 14. He drew 14 to 14, sat wide without cover the entire trip, and pretty much just exploded and put lengths on them, saluting by 2.1 lengths in what was an eye-catching performance. What did assist him on the day was the pace of the race. It was ran at about 5 lengths above average, which is just something to take into consideration. But taking all that in, he has trialled well since, which is ideal. Comes with this race nice and fit. I think he's going to handle the step up to class 3 easily, especially at the weights. Drawn much better here. Should get into a nice position, and I expect a similar result by a similar margin. I think it's one of the better bets on the card. Unfortunately, because of that eye-catching run and Zach Purton aboard, I don't know if we're going to get a price about it. But for me, number 9, Beauty Eternal, should be winning race 9, and I'm expecting a similar result at a similar margin.
Yeah, so number 9, Beauty Eternal, definitely. Last time his performance was really, really impressive. We seldom see a horse to win on debuts with the staying wide without cover for the whole trip, but Beauty Eternal did it. So this time up to class 3, still have a good chance to remain unbeaten. Joe, how about you? Who do you fancy in race 9?
Race 9, I took number 2, Super Fortune with Angus Chung. 2 seconds in his last time out. Another one to be expected to be one of the leaders in the race. I think the other one would be number 11, Wine and Wine, I believe, or one of the other ones is going to be to his outside. But yeah, this is a tough race for me. I think Beauty Eternal, obviously one of the really impressive debut. Nakoni County, also another one that I liked, and even down the bottom, I really like Science Patch. A lot of them are coming off of wins. It's going to be, I think, a pretty tough race if you look at it. But I'm going to go with Super Fortune. I think that claim from Angus Chung is going to, hopefully he'll be able to hang on the lead. So I'm going to go with number 2, Super Fortune.
Yes, number 2, Super Fortune. The 10 pounds claim is really helpful for this horse. So Angus Joe knows the horse really, really well, and this time the barrier is also quite ideal for him. Steve, how about you? Which horse do you like in race 9?
Well, I went for the bottom one, number 12, Science Patch, as Joe said. They're a nice horse. He's a consistent without winning recently. I think Josh was right. I mean, Beauty Eternal up £11, but I mean, that was from gate 14. If I remember rightly, I think his last barrier, I think he stumbled when he left the stalls, maybe left the barrier,
Yes.
but it didn't prevent him from running very well. And I think every week I try and, maybe try and find something that looks like the obvious winner, but doesn't actually win. And then you get great kudos for actually picking something that maybe wasn't expected to win. And when Beauty Eternal wins by 3 lengths, I'll be thinking, well, that was an obvious one and I've missed a winner. But, that's the way I play sometimes. And as I say, Beauty Eternal, you'd imagine if he's improved for that run, then he could make light of this £11 impost. But I'll just go for Science Patch. He's consistent. Sylvester de Souza's on board. He's gate 2. And I also think if there's one thing about Beauty Eternal, it is the start as well. Maybe, I'm sure, if in the pre-race interviews, Zach Purton will probably say he's a fantastic horse, but he's not the finished article after one run. And I suppose that's what I'm clinging to, a horse full of potential, but still doesn't learn to do the job properly. And possibly up £11, it might be a bit more to ask. And Science Patch, if nothing else, brings a level of experience and consistency to the table.
Yes, number 12, Science Patch down to the bottom. Rated 60, he is also eligible for a Class 4 race, but maybe I also think that racing in Class 3 carrying a lightweight is much more important for him. So Sylvester de Souza keeps riding on board and also breaking from a good draw. He is also having quite a good chance in race 9. And for me, I will go for an outsider, number 6, Good Buddy. Hopefully, he can have a better value because there are so many good contenders here. But I think that Good Beauty, number 6, is also worth a mention because he already has a winner in this season. And when he was up to Class 3 last time, it was quite impressive. Not that bad because breaking from the wide draw, he just has no choice to stay behind. And then at the home stretch, he just showed a great turn of foot to chase well. So this time, better draw for him. I expect that at the beginning, he can stay in the midfield, which will be a better position for him. And I'm also quite looking forward to see him chase well in the home stretch. So to recap, race 9, Joshua has the best bet, number 9, Beauty Eternal, and Joe goes for number 2, Super Fortune. Steve likes number 12, Science Patch, and I will go for number 6, Good Buddy. So let's move to the final leg of the treble. Race 10, it is a Class 2 over 1600 meters. Another good race to watch. Joshua, who do you like in race 10?
Yeah, race 10 I thought was quite an interesting race. I didn't mind number 2, Keefe here as my pick. I thought it was a brilliant run last time out when drawing 14 of 14 and sat on the pace on an above average tempo and still finished within half a length of packing Victory, who was suited to the pace that was up front. Beat home the Irishman, who since won. I think this is a similar race, if not easier than the one he faced first up. I love the step up to the mile here for the first time. I think since heading to Hong Kong, his mile form in Australia is good enough to win this race. He's drawn much better here, should be right in the finish despite being up 4 kilos. But you have to respect horses like CP Brave and Galaxy Witness and Sight Spirit. I think they're all going to be in my exotics going forward. But I think Keefe's the one that I want to be with here up to the mile for the first time.
Yes, I also agree. Number 2, Keefe is having good chance here because I quite like the draw this time. Breaking from gates 3, he can just stay in a great position. And Joe, how about you? Who do you like in race 10?
Oh, race 10, I went for number 6, Galaxy Witness, another one that's going up to the mile trip. His first race coming back off the for coming from the season, got got 7th, but then he came back and then raced, got 2nd. So yes, I mean another one that's a pretty tough race. I mean, if you're looking at if you're playing multi wager races, you got some pretty tough ones after the soft purse. So even the last one's pretty tough because there's like Mr. Ascendancy, Taichi Monster, Beauty Fit, all those. I know he's going to sit in the back and then try to get at him at the end. With Vincent Ho, normally the rider was Joe Moreira, but now we've seen that Joe Moreira is not for this season anymore. But I think Galaxy Witness, I think he had a decent trial back before his 2nd race. So, and he won the trial. So I think there's going to be another bounce back performance. I think he could do it this time around, especially getting that extra 200 meters or an extra furlong. So yeah, I'm going to take number 6, Galaxy Witness with Vincent Ho.
Yes, right. So apart from number 2, Keefe, number 6, Galaxy Witness is also another 4-year-old to remark. Steve, do you agree with Joe?
Yes, I went for Galaxy Witness. He won his first 4 races and obviously hasn't won his last 3, but he hasn't done much wrong. He was 3rd to all for St. Paul's when he was stepped up to this distance for the first time last season. And his 2 runs this season have been very good. I mean, 7th, halfway down the field, but only beaten 1 3/4 lengths behind packing Victory. And then the last time, looking at the race, I almost get the feeling that Vincent Ho thought he had the race covered until the Irishman came sweeping by. But it was a very good run. And he does need to start winning now. That's 3's lost now. He's not doing much wrong, but it'd be nice to see him win, for all that these are very competitive races. But I think up to the mile, he looks ripe for the step up to the mile distance now.
Yes, right. I agree that there are some 4-year-old contenders here. Maybe they will be aiming the 4-year-old Classic Series later in the season. So I go for number 2, Kiwi. I quite looking forward to his first race over a mile, and I believe that these 4-year-old horses, including Kiwi, also Galaxy Witness, and the Debutant Beauty Universe, they are also aiming for the 4-year-old Classic Series. So for Kiwi, this time I say that this time breaking from a good draw, I expect him to improve because last time he broke from gate 14, it was really tough for him. And this time, Sylvester de Souza retains the ride, and I believe he can have a better run. So to recap, race 10, Joshua goes for number 2, Kiwi. I agree with that as well. Joe and Steve agree with number 6, Galaxy Weakness, and it is also Steve's best bet on the card. So after talking about the treble, let's talk about our best bet on Sunday at Charene. Joshua, which horse do you like as your best bet? Can you remind us?
Yeah, just to recap, race 9, number 9, Beauty Eternal. As I said, that impressive run. I don't think we can get much of a price about it, unfortunately, because of how good the run was. And with Zach Purton, as we like to say, the Zach Purton tax, everything starts unders. So I think that he'll draw a lot better here. Up in Class 3, down at the weights, I think he can win by a similar margin. Race 9, number 9, Beauty Eternal.
Yes, definitely. So Joshua goes for race 9, number 9, Beauty Eternal, seeking for a back-to-back win. And Joe, how about you? Which horse do you like as your best bet?
Now, I don't know if this is going to be a complete lunatic best bet pick, but I went with race number 6 over the 1600. I went with Accelerando. He was just bad in his last 2 races, and then all of a sudden he just won. I think I'm going to bank on that he's going to do it again. Especially it took him a while to get him going while he was going on the straight. So his last 200-meter sectional was actually really good, especially coming after the spell. So I don't see the field that really that competitive. I mean, Dragon Pride won 3 in a row, but then now he's been falling off, and he's drawn 10. I like that Accelerando's drawn 3. Alex Bedell, I think he could just. I think it's President's Choice also. That's another one that I worry about too. But his last run was 3rd, and I think he could do it. I think he could go back to back Accelerando. So I'm going to go with him, number 6, race number 6, my best bet.
Yes, I also think that race 6 is not a strong field. So number 6, Accelerando, is able to having a back-to-back win because after the summer break and after turning 4-year-old, he is completely different. I would say he is now much more stronger than last season. So written by Alexi Patel, again, I also looking forward to him as well. And Steve, can you tell us again who will be your best bet?
Yeah, it's a bit of almost like sentimental Galaxy Witness in race number 10. Hopefully he can win, but he's a nice horse, and hoping that he can get on the board for the season. But a competitive race, hopefully. Gate number 7, Vincent Ho retains the faith, and but as you say, it's a competitive finale to the card. I think one good thing I like is the Kiwi and Galaxy Witness. I think they're proven if there's a bit of rain around as well, they've got a bit of form where the Y word for yielding is in place there. And I think lower down, I think Charity Grace is potentially a place prospect, although I think he has 3 lengths to make up with Galaxy Witness last season. But an interesting horse, Matthew Poon takes 2 off, and Captain Win doesn't win as often as he should, but another interesting horse. But for me, hopefully Galaxy Witness can get the job done and go 5 from 8, which would be nice.
Yeah, right. Number 6, Galaxy Witness in race 10. Actually, I quite like his performance over the mile last season. It was not bad, but after turning 4-year-old, now he is much more mature. And then the last 2 runs for him were just a bit unlucky. So this time, gate 7 is also quite good for him. So I quite looking forward to him as well. And for me, my best bet, I mentioned it earlier in the show. It will be race 8, number 6, Arimo, and other good horse that ridden by Zach Purton. And this time, I think he's really lucky enough to get the gate 1 again. So hopefully he can just copy how he won last time out. So this time I believe he also can show some improvement because during the track work before this race, he is now more and more mature and stronger. So I will be looking forward to him. So to recap, our best bet on Sunday at Charene. Race 9, number 9, Beauty Eternal for Joshua. Race 6, number 6, Accelerando for Joe. Race 10, number 6, Galaxy Weakness for Steve. And race 8, number 6, Arimo for myself. And let's look for some outsider on the card. Joshua, which horse do you like as your value bet?
Yeah, I went to the ladies' purse, the feature of the afternoon over the 1,800 meters. I think we can get a nice price about number 6, Savvy 9 here, because I think they're going to come for Beauty Joy with Purton aboard, which will be, in my exotics regardless. I think he'll definitely run a big race. But I think our bloke, he was massive in the Charene Trophy. He didn't get a clear run in the early part of the straight. His sectionals late were tremendous, and it could have been even better had the rider not dropped the whip around the 300-meter mark. And he also found he had a minor laceration to his left hind heel, which gives even more merit to the third placing of that race. He's placed nearly 50% of his races over 1,800 meters, and although he's only won twice in 40 starts, I just can't ignore that last start effort mixed with the ideal draw here, and he maps to get a really, really good run. And all we need now is some luck. And as I said, I think he's going to come up a nice value price, a nice each-way price. As I said, even though he's only won twice in 40 starts, I think he can run a bold race in this 10-horse field. And I think we're going to go very, very close here with number 6, Savvy 9.
Yeah, so number 6, Savvy 9 in the Group 3 ladies' purse in race 7, because it is a handicapped Group 3, so it is always good for us to look for some horses carrying a good weight. So Savvy 9 only carrying 123 pounds, which is quite a big advantage for him and a good draw. I also think that 1,800 meters is a suitable distance for him. And Joe, how about you? Which outsider do you like as your value bet?
My value bet is going to be in race number 5, the number 3 Snaffles. He's a 3-year-old. He was coming out of the Joseph O'Brien, who is the son of Aidan O'Brien, his stable. Now he goes to David Hayes. Won 2 in a row in the UK, and then comes up here and trialed. He's had a lot. He's had a lot of trials in Hong Kong, but none of them he's won. So I think he was just trying to get used to the climate in Hong Kong. But he's in a class 3, so I don't know if he's going to be able to handle the class. They must have thought he was talented because he was a part of that stable and won 2 in a row as a 2-year-old. So it's kind of tough. His competitions like Sarzan, Kilindini, Master Hero, Private Rocket, Red Titan, Helene Wisdom Star, Gold Empire, The Runner. But sometimes these the Europeans that go up to Hong Kong, they show up at big prices. I think there was one last year that was a massive blowout at $101 and ended up winning. Forget the name. I want to say it was Texas Moon. It was something like that. But yeah, that was a big run. So maybe this is the one. I think even though the competition's tough, and plus he's a 3-year-old, but he's drawn 1, and he's carrying a top weight too. So if this horse is really that talented, he wins. So Snaffles for me, I think he's an interesting runner in the race, which is race number 5.
Yes, definitely. Number 3, Snaffle in race 5. I'm quite sure that he will have some decent value. Although carrying the top weights, he got a gate 1, which is quite ideal for him. He is already a listed winner in Ireland before coming to Hong Kong, and he is sided by Churchill, a stallion that I love very much. And in Hong Kong, we also have another horse that is Encountered, also sided by Churchill, having good results here. So maybe Snaffle can also surprise us in race 5. And Steve, how about you? Who do you like as your value bet?
I went to race 3, the straight track, the 38,000 meters, and number 10 Valhalla Casper Found's horse and ridden by Vincent Ho. This is the race where, Joshua and yourself have picked Baby Kristen and Old Greek to me. And depending on how strong the debutants are, but it's quite a winnable race, I think. And I thought there was some promise in Valhalla's 2 runs last season over the 5 furlongs, the minimum trip at Happy Valley when he was mid-division behind Sergeant Pepper. And then he was half the price. He was just about 5 to 1, roughly that price next time when he was 8th to Universal Horizon, and that was over the 6 furlongs at Charene. Steps back to 5 now. Gate 10 looks pretty good. And so I think Valhalla's nice. Of the ones that have already ran, Gleneagle Generals tends to be in and out and flying high. I picked that on his penultimate run, but he was disappointing last time. So I think, and Millennium Falcon, you would think an interesting horse if he doesn't get rushed off his feet over the 1,000 meters. But Angus Chung's on board, so that's interesting. But yes, if the debutants aren't up to much, I think Valhalla is an interesting horse. I think there's a nice race to be won with him.
Yes, race 3, I think it is definitely an interesting race. In the field of 13, there are 4 debutants here, and Steve's value bet number 10, Valhalla, breaking from a good draw, gate 10, and he's not an early mature type with the stallion of Ocean Park. I believe the second season racing in Hong Kong, he should show some improvement, and more importantly, he just gained 20 pounds after the summer break, and it is definitely a good sign for him. And for me, my value bet goes to race 4, number 2, Beauty Champ, ridden by Antoine Hamilton and trained by Douglas White. This jockey-trainer partnership just have some good result last time with Pretty Queen Pound won impressively, and this time Beauty Champ goes down to class 4 for the first time. I expect him to show some class here because he performed quite well last season in class 3, and I believe he is very competitive here with a weaker field. So this time breaking from gate 3 over 1,400 meters at Charene, it is one of his best trip here, I think. So more importantly, the draw is quite good, gate 3, so he can stay in the midfield or just behind the leader, which will be better for him. And also, the Lady Purse Day was sponsored by the Sasa Cosmetic Company in Hong Kong, and the cosmetic company is owned by Mr. Kwok, which is also the owner of the Beauty Stable. So we will also say that in such a meaningful event, the Beauty Stable will have some good horses to race. And I also agree that Beauty Champ number 2 in race 4 is having quite a good chance. And actually, there are so many horses from the Beauty Stable also having quite good results on Sunday. So I believe that Beauty Champ is one of the winning hope for them. So to recap the value bets on for us, Joshua goes for race 7, number 6, Safi 9, and then race 5, number 3, Snaffle for Joe, race 3, number 10, Valhalla for Steve, and race 4, number 2, Beauty Champ for myself. So that's all for our selections on Sunday at Charene. Hopefully we can bring you some winner. And also it is also the Ladies' Day in Hong Kong racing. So hopefully we can have some good results, and you can also see some
Charene,
beautiful faces there.
Before we go, do you have any of the sauce stuff?
Yes.
Do you wear it?
Yeah? Yes. Maybe I will put on some makeup and then to wear some beautiful dress.
You're gonna go to the. Are you gonna be there? You're gonna be there?
No, because I will be at the studio hosting the live. So yeah, hopefully we can have a great day.
Yeah.
Do you have any Sasa stuff, Joe?
Yeah, I got some concealer. I mean, I don't know what that is.
That's lovely. I got so many lipsticks from Sasa. That's really nice. So yes, hopefully we can have some good results on Sunday, and we will see you next time for the Happy Valley preview. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.